this moves me to this question here.
Okay.
While reading your book, Things to Come, there are numerous images with this faded bee behind chapter headings and the such.
Right.
What is the story behind that? Why are they there?
Well, we got word that a village that was supposed to be deserted had a lot of activity. So we got in our helicopters at 3 a.m. and went out over the South China Sea and came in and landed on the beach on whisper mode and disembarked from the helicopters and got on line beside some hedgerows. And the idea was to wait for first light, break through the hedgerows, and take over the village. So as we were going through the hedgerows, the trooper next to me struck a wasp nest with the butt of his rifle, and 11 wasps swarmed on me and stung me in the head and the neck. And they couldn't call a medevac right away because we hadn't engaged the village yet. When they did call the medevac, they came and picked me up and brought me to the MASH unit. And as they were bringing me into the emergency room, I didn't have any facial features by that time. I was so swollen. And the doctor looked at me and said, "What in the hell happened to him?" I don't think he knew how to treat me. So I pulled the wasp out of my mouth because I'd bitten down on it just to stop the pain, and I never realized that I didn't spit it out till I heard him say that. And then I held it up, and then I went into anaphylactic shock, cardiac arrest, and complete respiratory failure. And that's when I had my life after death experience. So I want people to be aware of that spiritual part of our existence, and that's why the wasp is so frequently in the book.
Okay. Yeah, I had read the story, so I pretty much knew why it was there. It was a pretty important moment in your life as far as
life changing. When you go from believing there's life after death to knowing there's life after death, it changes everything.
You shared a little bit of that experience off camera. Would you care to share it with the people watching?
When I went into shock, my spirit and soul left my body as soon as my body died. And I just went up kind of above the operating table and watched the procedures to resuscitate me. And some of the thoughts I was having is, this is still me. It's still Tom Newman. And I was 100% conscious. I'm looking at these people and I'm thinking, I can see them. Why can't they see me? So I looked at my hand and it was translucent. I could see through it. And Scripture tells us that that's the state we have when we die. We're to be like angels until we get a reconstituted body. So one thing that led me to believe and why I'm so attuned to the spiritual warfare is if they couldn't see me and I was right there, these angels, light and dark, can be around us everywhere. We just can't see them, but they're here because the human eye only perceives 10% of the light spectrum. And if you're living outside of that 10%, we can have a half a dozen angels in this room with us right now. And the only solace I always take in that is a third of the angels followed Satan, so it's always going to be 2 to 1. We've always got the upper hand.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
That's a good point. I've never really quite thought of it that way.
So then when I was in the recovery room the next day, and the orderly came around and he said, I see you're coming around. How do you feel? And I said, well, I got a question for you. I said, why are you guys putting blood in one arm and taking it out of the other? And he says, how the hell do you know we did that? You were gone.
Wow.
So that was the empirical verification I needed that it wasn't the drugs they were administering or it wasn't a dream or anything else, that it was what really happened.
Wow.
So when you were in that position, looking down on yourself, was there a feeling of fear or peace or nothing? Or how would you describe that?
There was no fear. It was like I'm observing this. If they resuscitate me, I'm going to go back. And if not, I'm going to go somewhere else. But the one thing that I was aware of is the only thing that exists in that realm is truth. You can't even have a thought that's not truth. Everything is truth. And you can believe in it 100%. And it's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
But just you know so much and you know it's all true.
Right. I know hearing other stories from people that have had similar life after death experiences, some say that their whole life flashed before them, that, you know, they were kind of contemplating or thinking all at once of all the things that they did that they wish they would have done differently.
Right.
Did you have anything like that?
I have a very good friend that had a heart attack and he died, but he went all the way to heaven, and he was resuscitated and he came back. And all I can say to answer your question is, I don't know why God gives people those experiences and why they're all different, but he gives you what you need to know for what it is that you have to come back to do.
Okay.
That's all I can make sense to me.
That makes sense. Whereas somebody might need that push to just really kind of change certain
Change your
behaviors.
perspectives.
Yeah, and
I couldn't have written that book without that experience, because I wouldn't have that spiritual acuity.
Right.
I would be thinking provisional reality.
I didn't have any experience quite like that. Both of Tom's books, Just War, A Soldier's Revelation, and Things to Come, A Brief History of the Bible, are available at Amazon.com, and you can also find a link to those in the video description below. Hey.